Welcome back, everybody. We stand on the precipice of insanity, chaos, and time travel. We're here inside of Will's time machine. Dr. Amaral is tied up because she tried to send Beth to the wrong place in time, and now we are walking the corridor to try and change the end, to try and find a way to save maybe Will, maybe the world. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey. Let's walk forward. Where will we end up? Where do you think Jack plugged in? Who knows what happens at the other end? We're walking through the Chronon corridor, and it is peeling away at my skin, my mental skin. We're rewinding our way through life and exiting the other side, somewhere else, before the machine was even ready.
Your first journey back in time, 2010. This is where our notes get hazy.
You know how it ended.
Your goal when you arrived was to retrieve the countermeasure.
But my goal had to wait. Because I wasn't alone.
Who's here? Do you think it's Beth? I think it's someone else. So we didn't go way back. We just went back to 2010, July 4th, the day the countermeasure was supposedly taken. Let's read this stuff before we see who's pounding. From Will to Beth. Okay, leaving the workshop now. The countermeasure is secured in my safe. I know better than to ask the reasoning behind this request. In 11 years, you've never been wrong, and I don't want to know about the future anyway. But that will make this easier for me to digest. Can we meet tomorrow? Now that the device is complete, I need to know what the next steps are. And please be careful with the countermeasure. It's tremendously powerful, and sourcing the chronon particles for it alone has taken over a decade. Rebuilding would take me years and years. I'm now going to ask you to do something that will sound counterintuitive. Leave the workshop. Leave the countermeasure behind. Do not return until tomorrow morning. With all my orders, it's best I don't go into further detail. So she set it up so that she could go get it. Right? I finished. It's finally finished. Tests are all positive. Given your knowledge of the future, I'm guessing you already knew this would be the day I completed my work. I've been working on successfully created a countermeasure. That's good. That's good news. And a radio broadcast from 6 years ago.
Hey, Bobby Radford coming at you on 4th of July. And what a fine day it is, too. Things are looking up for Riverport. Don't believe me? Just look at that shiny new Monarch building going up. That's a big deal for this town.
They were positive about it back then.
I know there's been complaints. Talking about how Monarch's tearing down this or that, taking over the mom and pop spots, making Riverport more corporate. Some of that's happening. It ain't all good. A huge corporation like that, you know, they're all about power and profit. But I say, hold on there. Put it in perspective. This town's been miserable for a long time. A long time. When our shipbuilding industry took that final nosedive, we hit one hell of a slump. A lot of people I know have been unemployed for years now, and that's hard. But Monarch's here. And they're starting to change that big time. So they ain't perfect. So what? It beats the alternative. I want to be optimistic about this. It ain't wrong to have a little hope for the future. I want to believe that this is capitalism working as intended, you know? The American way, you could say.
Back when they were positive about Monarch, when they thought they were doing good instead of gross, and before they started killing people and apprehending civilians, and Martin Hatch started going maniacal.
What's going on here? Since when did Will run a graffiti workshop? None of this crap was here in 2016.
So Beth went back and started painting all these pictures and operating out of here, and then posted them around Riverport, I'm guessing? Okay, cannot leave yet.
What the?
Wait.
Someone's in here.
They're gunshots? Oh, someone's at the charting range. I bet it's Beth training? Or is it Paul Serene training? What the heck is going on, my friends? Yep, it's Beth. Young Beth Wilder.
Beth? It's me. Hey, 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 hey. What happened to you?
This is it. There's no turning back. Jack? Dr. Emerald sent me to the future.
Oh my
I fought
God.
for months trying to find a way to get back. I wasn't the only one.
Paul.
Stop! I followed him back. He set William's machine to 1999. The first possible exit point.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
It's okay. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. I'm on your side.
Who are you?
I'm Beth Wilder. There's some things you need to know.
It is all a loop because this is where she goes back to meet him, but she hadn't done that yet.
He built the countermeasure.
Ah, it's a
And you've
huge.
been here ever since. 11 years. Why? Why didn't you come back?
We should get ready. We don't have much time.
There's the picture she made. Okay, so it's got to be some sort of like infinite loop that cannot be.
She had changed,
Yeah.
and there was a weight in her eyes. She was hiding something.
She always was.
Weird. I'm not sure exactly how. I'm trying to piece it together. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but you guys know what I'm saying, right? Like the infinite loop, like it always happened this way, and always, like even though Beth hadn't known about it, she was already like in the past to create. Because in our timeline of playing the game, Will had already made the countermeasure, which means that this Beth had already gone back, even though she hadn't at the time of our game. So it's like that. Let's just continue.
What exactly do you believe changed in Beth?
She lost hope.
No, here I am back in the time I've already lived once before. Now no idea how long I'll need to stay here. So there are two Beths existing? No idea what comes next. This isn't how it's supposed to go. This wasn't the plan. If I'm going to come to terms with that, then I'm going to need to write it all down. There's nobody to tell this to but myself, so hello me again. This all started back in 2016. Jack and I kidnapped Dr. Amaral. We were supposed to use the time machine to travel to 2010 and retrieve the countermeasure. I believe Dr. Amaral switched the date at the last moment. I heard Jack calling out, but it was too late. I was already inside. There was nothing to do but keep moving forward, and when I exited the corridor, I arrived in the one place I never thought possible, the end of time. My greatest fear was realized. I'm still trying to grasp what that means. My entire life had been devoted to stopping the fracture. What I saw, was it proof that it couldn't be stopped? I can't believe that. There's a logic to all of this, I just haven't found it yet. I'm not ready to write down details at the end of the time, not yet. The essential part of the story is that I found a way back. I spent a long time trying to fix William's machine, but somebody beat me to it. He set a course to the earliest time the machine could operate, the first time the core was activated, February 28th, 1999. I followed him through. That's when I found William, still alive, much younger than I'd ever seen him. I warned him about the fracture. I told him that he was the only one who could create a solution. He begged me not to tell him anything else about the future. He said he couldn't stand living like that. But being constantly aware of what will come to pass, his every action just part of the preordained dance. I wanted to tell him more, but I know how he felt. William agreed to do what must be done. He agreed to build the countermeasure. This whole time, it was me who set him on that path. So weird. Like, she's aware of it, even though she already did it. He says the machine doesn't have the sufficient chronon capacity to return me to the future. He says a jump that far would be nearly impossible without a substantial scientific breakthrough. Apparently that hasn't happened yet. That's his way of saying I'm trapped. In 1999, sorry for the yawns, late at night, I just gotta keep playing. Second time around, so here I am. Time machine move equals success. I worked with Will to get the time machine moved. Had to make sure Serene wouldn't be able to use it to his advantage, so we moved it to the one place I knew it would be safe. Bradbury swimming pool. Will spent a big chunk of his research grant behind the property. See, she orchestrated all of this already, even though she wasn't aware of it already, because time is a loop. And you can't change things, even though they've already been done, and you're not aware of it. Weird. It's the one place I know for sure that Monarch won't find us. After all, they still weren't aware of it in 2016. That means this is my new home for the time being. Will refuses to build the countermeasure here. He says that it has to be done in his workshop. He chose that location to build the time machine for a reason. Something about abnormal chronon density anomalies, whatever. Didn't seem to concern him that the very people we need to hide from know about his workshop. Probably doesn't help that he won't let me tell him who those people actually are. Guy's almost as stubborn as his brother. Now that the move is complete and Will is on his way, all I can do is wait. Not liking the idea of that. Keeping busy was the only thing that distracted me from the eerie nature of being trapped here. Guess I should look at the bright side. Second chance at having a killer Y2K party? The most real experience. Her eyes looked so full of life. Looking at the clouds and vulnerable to the world around her, she looked full of life. She looked happy. It was me. I knew the day was coming. I knew that I had to go see her and set her on our mission so that she would do what needed to be done, so that someday she would become, well, me. She was in the backyard, bright red duffel coat playing. Simple pleasures. It's strange. I remember the small details so differently the first time around. When I was a child, that woman who came to see me seemed like an angel, a limitless source of wisdom gifting me with a purpose. Now I was that woman. Trembling, a lump in my stomach, nervous as hell, it didn't matter. I knew she was too young to see those things on my face. I gave her the notebook. So, when did Beth ever write this notebook? Because, unless she wrote it, but she had it, didn't she? Like, where was it ever created? It's so weird. Stuff like that just bugs me about time travel. I told a small child to give up those simple pleasures to pursue a life that bring nothing but pain and hardship. I promised her that it would all be worth it, that she would make a difference, that she would save the world. She believed me. Ate bagels with cream cheese and watched Buffy reruns in a drained swimming pool. Party on. I tried to stop it a second time. I warned them, told them exactly what was going to happen. Nothing changed. I came to terms with the fact that none of this could be changed as a child. But since then, I've seen things that made me desperate to prove myself wrong, desperate to believe that what I've seen cannot come to pass. I tried to stop the rise of Monarch. I tried to stop Paul Serene. Both versions of him. Every action was negated by the force of a timeline that cannot be bent or broken. I've tried to stop tragedy as well. Jack's parents' Christmas of 1999. I knew what happened to them. This time I was there. Car crashed exactly as it was supposed to. My presence only led it to happen as it always did. I went to the funeral. I watched Jack cry. I watched Will build a wall around himself. I watched two brothers change forever in that moment, and I could do nothing about it. And now this. They spotted me near William's workshop. Barely got out of there alive. After all this time, Serena is still obsessed with finding me. He won't give up until he does. Have to be more careful in the future. Been having recurring nightmares about what I saw. I've been dreading doing this, but it's time. I have to write it out. It's the only way to move past it. In 2016, I entered the time machine intending to travel back to 2010. That didn't happen. Dr. Amaral changed the date. When I exited the machine, I arrived at the future. The fracture had run its course. Time had stopped altogether. The entire world was frozen in one hanging moment. I was the only one still able to function, or so I thought. Then the shifters came. I can still hear them. Their sounds echo through my dreams. The entire world was still except me. They really don't like movement. I stepped out of the machine into the one thing I spent my entire life trying to prevent. The fracture was never fixed. I was living through the proof. The first hours were the hardest. I was living through a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. Surrounded by constant reminders that my mission would fail. Never able to stay in one place because the shifters were always searching, always hunting. I wasn't alone. I discovered the first evidence of this a few days in. I heard the shifters become agitated, but I was nowhere near them. They were following somebody else, Paul Serene. A younger Paul. Scared, weak, vulnerable. He found me, tried to convince me that we needed to work together to help each other through. He found out very quickly that I wanted him dead. He had no training, no killer instinct, but he had those dang powers, and all I had was the chronon harness. The end of the world, the only two people left, and we became sworn enemies. I can't be sure how long we spent there. Could have been months, could have been years. When time doesn't move, it feels like an eternity. Our grip on reality slipped away. Trapped in an endless loop of brutal survival. Though we were enemies, there was a strange bond formulated through that suffering. We shared an experience that no other human has ever endured. Eventually, Paul managed to get William's time machine working. He was convinced that he needed to travel back to the earliest possible point in order to stop this all from happening. He had yet to learn that the past couldn't be changed. I followed him through the machine, but he escaped. He formed Monarch. He built an empire. I watched the birth of a monster. I can't escape the feeling that my actions helped shape what he became. Maybe I could have guided him. Maybe if I hadn't tried to hunt him down and kill him at the end of time. That can't be my part in all of this. There has to be more. So Monarch was built before the end of time, but then he went back in time to make the end of time because there's two of him and two of Beth. That's why this is like even possible. I wake up in a cold sweat most nights. I hear the shifters coming. I can almost feel their presence. Much of my experience at the end of time has become a blur in my memory, but there's one detail that I can't shake. One detail that brings my entire mission into question. One detail that haunts me. 2021. Oh, so the end of time was 5 years later. It wasn't in 2016. That's super weird. 5 years until the countermeasure will be complete. This is back in 2005. I spent most of my days training. I don't know what happens once the device is finished, but being prepared is my specialty. I still wonder if Jack will follow the plan. If he'll emerge the machine in 2010. Best not to think about. I'm so sorry for the yawns. I'm not giving up, but I can't let these thoughts consume me. I need to focus on the present. Focus on what is in front of me. That's the mantra that keeps me going. Just focus on the present. So I decided to take on some hobbies. Tried poetry, got depressed. Dabbled with a guitar for a while. Smashed it against the wall. Then I started experimenting with graffiti. Seems to be working out okay for me so far. It's fulfilling on a few different levels. Partly as a form of self-expression, partly as a means of release, partly just to F with people. What happens when Joe analyzes some graffiti on a wall one day, builds an interpretation in his head, and then 3 years later his depiction of that image comes true? Not sure, but it's fun to think about. Who's Joe? I can't change anything, but at least this gives me the illusion of some kind of power. That illusion is what keeps me holding on. Sometimes I leave anonymous notes in people's mailboxes telling them what will happen next week. I watch their reactions from afar. Voyeurism and graffiti, that's my life these days. Focus on the present. I started watching him recently. I know Monarch is tracking him, so I keep my distance. I wasn't sure why I felt I needed to follow him to watch his life from the outside, but now I think I understand. I met Jack in the wake of his brother's death, the onset of the fracture, worst day of both of our lives. He was broken. That's the only Jack I ever knew. There's some kind of comfort in seeing him in happier times. I watched his band play a gig nearby. Atrociously bad. Whiny emo music. Definitely a music movement I didn't need to live through a second time, but there was something pure about seeing him up there, letting it all out. They're going to fall in love. I just predict that right now. He never had an easy life. It was just nice to see that he found a way to release all that. He just looked happy. It made me forget everything else. The nightmare stopped for a while after that, so I kept following him. It gave me something else to focus on. I spent most of my life hiding who I am, what I know. I knew Jack for less than 24 hours, but he's the only person I've opened up to about everything. I told him the truth. He believed me. I wish I could thank him for that. I'm not sure what I'm going to tell him if he comes through the machine on July 4th, 2010. What will he think when he sees me? 11 years will have passed. I look like I've aged 3 lifetimes since then, and for him it can only be a matter of minutes. What do I say? That I saw the end? That this might be all for nothing? I was the one who believed, without question, that we would stop the fracture. That confidence has now been replaced with insecurity, weakness. I fear letting him see that. I fear that he'll see the doubt in my eyes. For years I felt invincible, full of hope. I'm not that woman anymore. I'm scared. Tonight I painted something at the university campus. It was only after I finished and took a step back to look at it I realized I've seen it before, about a decade ago. Remains of something painted on a wall but washed away. It was a jolt. Is all of this futile? Nothing sticks. Nothing has changed. All of it washed away by the river of time. Effing time travel. I've been in contact with Will every 6 months or so. Short exchanges to get an update on his progress building the countermeasure. This is 2008. He's still at least 2 years away from completion, but he's now confident that he knows how the countermeasure will work. He told me that the countermeasure will be able to reverse a fracture in time, but in order to do so, it must be activated early in the escalation of the fracture. Once the fracture runs its course, once the end of time is reached, he believes the countermeasure will be rendered ineffective. I asked him what it would mean if the end of time ever occurred. He said it would mean that the fracture has never stopped. It would mean that we failed. Everything I have done has been for nothing. Aww. The day is here. Soon I will receive word that William has completed the countermeasure. I'm sure of it. I've come to accept that this doesn't mean we will succeed. I've come to accept that my mission was a lie. But I'm not giving up. Lie or not, I devoted my life to this cause. It gave me meaning. It's all I've ever known. Even if I've seen the proof that I won't succeed, I'm not giving up. I will dedicate every ounce of courage I have left to seeing this through. I'll retrieve the countermeasure. I'll keep it safe until 2016. I'll do everything in my power to activate it when the time comes. I will fail, but I will fail knowing that I did everything in my power to save the world. For years I hoped that this would be the day when I would see Jack again. I've given up that hope. This mission started me alone. That's how it will end. This will be my final entry. But Jack did show up, and here he is, ready to run to Beth, and my voice is low on energy. And there's new Beth. After all that reading insanity. I'm sorry if that was boring for you, but I think it was incredibly crucial to the story and learning what Beth has gone through. I think all of these notes are so critical to Quantum Break, and without them, you'd be getting half of a tale. A horrible mixed message that wouldn't really deliver on the full promise of QB.
11 years.
It's all the calendars. She waited from 99 to 2010. And there she is, sad, distraught, older, and hopeless. Let's hope that we can restore some of that hope to her next time, guys and girls. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that thumbs up button if you're ready for more. I'll bring it away as soon as I can. And until that time, everybody, drink so much salt. Thanks again. We'll see you all later.